Atlanta news first. Plus, starts now with First Alert Weather.
All right, good morning, everyone. I am First Alert meteorologist Courtney Jacobazzi. We are going to talk about another First Alert weather day today, as we do have more storms on the horizon for your Thursday. After yesterday's storms, I know a lot of you are like, oh, not again. But unfortunately, yes, again, we do have to talk about it. So essentially, we're in a very similar pattern to yesterday. So we're going to talk about the potential for severe weather, unfortunately. Off the bat, I do want to let you know it does look like the severe threat is lower than yesterday, which is good. But overall, we are going to still be looking at the chance for isolated severe storms today with the potential for damaging wind, maybe some small hail, definitely frequent lightning. We're going to have a lot of fuel, so these storms will be pretty electric. And we will also watch for the potential for maybe an isolated tornado. We did have a brief tornado down in Upson and Lamar County yesterday. It hasn't been confirmed yet, but we did have that tornado warning. And we're just in a really similar pattern. We have this low developing along the coast. So that could bring a little extra spin in the atmosphere as it moves closer to us. So can't completely rule out a brief isolated tornado for the day today. The timing will be between mainly 3 and 11 p.m. I think the best chance for storms today, unfortunately, will be right in time for your evening commute and any dinner plans you may have. I almost just fell off my box. Did you see that? And scattered storms will be possible. I'm 5'1" every day of the week. Gotta have the box underneath me. High temperatures today. The good news, the silver lining of our forecast today, a little cooler with high temperatures in the low 90s today, maybe even some upper 80s in some spots. The normal high 89 yesterday, we hit 96, so it will be a little cooler. We won't have that extreme heat in play today, and you can see that with the heat risk. It's still considered high in Metro, but it's moderate across most of North Georgia, so we're not looking at any extreme heat for the day today, which is good. Unfortunately, for your commute tonight, as I mentioned, that's when we'll start to see the rain chance increase. Temperatures will be in the low 90s this afternoon, so for your commute home, it'll still be pretty steamy, but notice that 50 to 60% coverage of showers and storms between about 5 and 7. So any dinner plans tonight, you're probably going to want to keep those indoors or just make sure you're adding some extra time to get to your destination. Bring that umbrella with you. We're going to give it a red light for your evening commute tonight because of those heavy downpours that will reduce visibility for your drive home. Let's take you hour by hour through First Alert Futurecast. So very similar to yesterday as well, these storms are going to roll in from the northeast and push off to the southwest. Starting around 3 o'clock, we could have a few of those spotty thunderstorms develop within the heat of the day, but then notice all those storms usher in around 5 o'clock. We're looking at about a 30 to 40% coverage of storms at this point. Really up in the mountains, we'll be watching for isolated severe storms, and then all those storms drift down and kind of take over Metro around 7 p.m. tonight. After sunset, everything starts to die down. We will bring our severe weather threat to an end around 11 o'clock tonight, so we'll have to worry about overnight thunderstorms this time. Again, threat-wise, we're looking at the chance for damaging straight-line winds, 60 to 70 miles per hour. That could take down more trees later today. Also, of course, power lines, so unfortunately, more power outages are possible. The tornado threat very low, it's just not none, and then lightning will be a high risk today, and again, that hail risk low as well. Looking ahead to your weekend, we will hold on to this unsettled pattern. We're going to head not necessarily into this, we're not going to stay rather in this pattern we've been in the last couple of days with that low developing and bringing us those showers and storms. We're going to go back in just that typical summer-like pattern. You get those pulse thunderstorms to develop in the afternoon and then kind of wash themselves out within the hour. So 90 degrees Saturday, 91 Sunday, with about a 40% chance for afternoon and evening showers and thunderstorms. Not going to be a washout. So if you do have any plans this weekend, don't cancel them. Just make sure that while you're out and about, you're paying attention to the forecast in case those storms have to bubble up. You have to maybe head indoors or, back inside for a little while, and then you can make your way back out after the storms develop. Through the rest of your 7-day forecast, we will hold on to at least a 40 to 50% coverage of storms going into the start of next week. But notice Tuesday and Wednesday, those rain chances increase. We're going to have a cold front that's going to try to push through the area. So that's simply going to add a higher coverage of showers and storms, as that front will serve as a little extra lift for that moisture to work with. And that'll keep our temperatures in the mid to upper 80s. So we'll say goodbye to the upper 90s and hello to the upper 80s to low 90s. A little more average for this time of year. But keep the umbrella handy because we'll have, again, that daily chance of afternoon storms. And we'll be keeping an eye on next Tuesday and Wednesday. We may have to First Alert Weather Day one of those days once we get a better idea of when that front's going to push through and when we think the weather will be most impactful for you. All right, that is a check of your forecast. We are going to get you ready to take a look at your top stories. But first, we're going to leave you with a quick commercial break. And stay tuned because we'll have all of a look of your top stories for the day. If the commercial will run. Maybe not. Maybe so. Hold up.
And hello, good morning. I'm Rick Folbaum with the news headlines today here on ANF Plus. So glad you're with us. If you were watching Courtney's forecast earlier, you heard that she almost fell off the box. There is a box here that helps her to be a little bit taller for the camera. I don't need to use it, thankfully. But let's get straight to the news because we, of course, are on the cusp of another holiday weekend, which is so fun. Maybe you've got some travel plans. I know that I do. My children and I are going up to visit family in New Jersey, and we'll be hitting the road tomorrow, along with millions of other people who will also be hitting the road. So this is what we're hearing now from folks at Hartsfield-Jackson, that tomorrow will be the busiest travel day. Between now and July 7th, more than 4 million passengers are expected to travel to, from, or through Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. So if you're flying, you're encouraged to get to the airport at least 2.5 hours before your flight. And if you don't have a real ID yet, remember that there was a deadline you had to have it by. So if you still do not, you could face some additional delays at security checkpoints. You'll still be able to fly, but it's going to hold you up. So if you don't yet have that real ID, make sure you take care of that because it's going to cause you some hassles down the road. All right, let's take a look at some of the other news today, including news out of the CDC, of course, based here in Atlanta. So a lot of people very interested in what goes on there. And a new set of decision makers beginning their work when it comes to vaccines and vaccine recommendations. And this is very controversial because this is a new, recently appointed group of advisors. They met yesterday. They're meeting again today. They're talking about immunization recommendations that will absolutely impact you and your family and really everyone here in the country. And this is happening just a few weeks after the Health and Human Services Secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., fired the existing panel of advisors, accusing them all of having conflicts of interest. Now, critics, we should say, accuse Kennedy, who is an admitted vaccine skeptic, of upending a system that for decades has kept Americans safe by recommending life-saving vaccines. But during yesterday's meeting, it was revealed that one of Kennedy's 8 new appointees has already had to withdraw. He did that during the required financial review. So now the board, which used to have 8, now only has 7 members. And we should say that while there are fringe groups that have pushed theories about the supposed dangers of vaccines, those views are not in the mainstream. Many of those views have been discredited or debunked, like, for example, the myth that vaccines lead to autism. That is not true, but still some people believe it, including the Health and Human Services Secretary. So that is something that is of concern to a lot of people in the medical community who are concerned that Kennedy is now going to use his personal views to shape public policy that would result in fewer children having access to vaccines that have been proven to be safe and effective. Kennedy, for his part, says that he is not against vaccines, but rather that he is pro-safety. And if this panel upends decades of vaccine policy, this would absolutely influence insurance coverage decisions by insurance companies, whether or not they would pay for vaccinations, and potentially even what doctors tell their patients. And so this is a big deal, what's happening here in Atlanta. It's going to have an impact on the entire country. And so we, of course, will be paying very close attention to that. All right, some other news today on this Thursday, and you take a look at this map. Some new parking changes announced along the Beltline. How much you'll have to pay to park to eat at a popular food hall, that's the question, because soon customers are going to be charged to park there. The group behind the Lee and White District outlined the changes on social media. Parking for the first 2 hours will be free, and then after 2 hours, you'll have to pay $5. After 5 hours, parking goes up to $10. There will be signs that outline the new rates, but the new rates don't start until September 1st, so you can plan ahead if that's something that, if that's an area that you like to go to. Just keep all of that in mind. Other news today involves cryptocurrency and home buyers who might soon be able to use cryptocurrency to help them qualify for home loans. The federal government has ordered Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to prepare for a proposal that would allow them to consider crypto as an asset for single-family home loan risk assessments. That's the evaluation that everybody goes through when they're applying for a mortgage. If this is approved and finalized, the proposal could bring the U.S. one step closer to President Trump's pledge when he took office again in January to make the country, quote, the crypto capital of the world. He is a huge crypto fan. He has a lot of business involvement with the crypto industry, and this is something that he has been very supportive of for years, especially now that he is back in the White House. Okay, have you been reading about the Bezos wedding? This is the wedding between the Amazon founder and one of the world's richest men, Jeff Bezos, and his fiancée, soon-to-be wife, Lauren Sanchez. Their wedding celebration kicking off in Venice, Italy. But there is a lot of backlash. People there say the city doesn't have enough space for all of the Bezos' extravagance. The company in charge of planning the wedding, though, says it's going to be respectful to Venice and the locals there. Officials have reportedly reserved more than 24 water taxis and booked 9 yacht ports in the area. The guest list is expected to have 200 A-list celebrities and business executives, all of whom were forced to sign a non-disclosure agreement in return for being able to go and celebrate with the Bezos Sanchez's. Among the guests who will be there, entrepreneur Kim Kardashian and first daughter Ivanka Trump. And so we'll see what happens in Venice after all of those wedding guests leave. They're already having problems in Venice with the water levels there. And I'm sure there'll be plenty of wine at the Bezos affair, so guests may want to pay attention to the results of the 2025 Decanter World Wine Awards, now out. France, by far the champion, 3,200 medals, 14 best in show competitions. The Champagne region alone got 27 different honors. Italy and Spain also had strong showings with more than 2,000 awards each. And closer to home, Canada made a list with an ice wine, which is made from grapes that are picked from the vine while frozen. Have you ever had ice wine before? I had never heard of that before, but apparently it's a thing, and it's very popular as well. So maybe that's something you might want to look to get for your 4th of July celebrations. But whatever you're doing, make it a happy and safe 4th of July holiday. Please be careful out there. Thanks so much for joining us here on ANF Plus. I'm Rick Folbaum, and we'll see you soon. Keep it right here. Take care.
Thank you for watching ANF Plus. For more breaking news, live coverage, and your community stories, download the Atlanta News First app. You can also watch us on YouTube, Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.